Good evening, everybody. This is Stephen Bones of Smoke Signals, and this is my Wednesday wisdom, if you want to call it that, whatever it is. And I've got an amazing guest with me tonight, which is Kirsi Marja Hardy, or Kirsi Hardy, whatever you want to call her. She's an amazing individual. She's been on a journey of her own healing for quite a while, and we've known each other for a number of years. And we've been in each other's space physically. Now, Kirsty, for those of you guys in the UK and Europe that are watching, Kirsty lives in Louisiana. Yeah, am I right? Yes, yeah.
Yes.
So she's in a bit warmer. This is October while we're recording this, so she's in a bit warmer space than we are in Europe. So now Kirsty, interestingly, is let me get this right. She's a certified parenting coach, and she approaches that using energetics. So I hope I've got that right. And I've thought this would make an interesting conversation because we're all parents, and we're looking all the time to get support, I suppose, and information because nobody, when we walk out the hospital with our newborn children, they're not giving us a handbook on what to do in life and how to be aware and how to support. Mine are all grown-up adults, and we've got no grandchildren. So for us, I think my youngest daughter was about 14 when when she caught my transformation and also my wife's transformation on how we healed ourselves that also created better parenting skills. But I'm going to hand you over to Kirsty because she's got an amazing story, and she's a fantastic lady, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. So, Kirsty, go on, tell us what you do.
Thank you, first of all, for having me here, Stephen. It's such a pleasure. And yeah, so I am a parent myself of four grown children, and I have three grandchildren. And so my passion in first of all in the energetics and in helping people to navigate life and emotions. And it all comes down to parenting, because if we know how to deal with our emotions and if we know the tools how to navigate the turbulent life that we are all in, that we don't have a lot of it, we don't have control of. If we have those tools and we can stay centered, then we automatically teach that to our children, and children are our future. And my passion really, I've been a teacher for about 12 years, and I'm no longer a teacher. I'm a life coach and a parenting coach. And what got me into, really being a teacher in the first place and um, gravitating towards children is a trauma that I experienced myself in childhood. And around that, trauma is trauma because there's no support. Um, it would not, we things can happen to us, but if we get support, we can soften the impact. It's kind of like, you break your arm, and if you don't get it fixed, it's going to be messed up. So it's the same thing with emotional, physical trauma or mental trauma we experience. So I actually thought when I was a child myself, and even an older teenager, I thought I would never have children myself because of that experience, traumatic experience I had as a child. And what is the trauma as a child is that child feels like they're alone, that there is no tuning from anyone around to their real experience of life. Everybody seems to be wanting to put their experiences on the children, like, oh no, it's not hurting that bad. Why are you crying? Hey, we got to go now. Let's go. We got to do this. Okay, it's time to go to sleep. And so, in all of that program that we need to run in this life, this child is left alone with those emotional and mental experiences that are very big and powerful and can be very traumatic if something has happened. And what I learned as a child is that a child cannot express themselves. I could not express the trauma that I went through. There was no way. I tried, but I couldn't deliver so that somebody would really understand what was going on. So when that happens, everything changes. Like the child comes into this life. I have a grandson right now. He is 8 months old. And yes, and he's such a joy. Oh my goodness. Like children come into this life as an open, trusting spirit in this body,
Yeah,
learning to work this body, learning to eat, learning
yeah,
to walk, learning to talk. And so, but in the essence of themselves, there is this beautiful, open, trusting spirit. And it really is mind blowing when we think about it. They can't do anything by themselves.
no.
So trust that they exert to us caregivers is mind blowing.
Mm.
Like and then
And
things
we and
happen.
we and we take that for granted as we come through life, which is quite fascinating. When you actually look at it, what you've just described out the box, I love that because I've never looked in from that point of view, and that's quite amazing. Yeah, never thought of it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, you as a life coach, me as a life coach, we hear this all the time.
Mm,
The foundation is safety,
mm,
safety, safety, safety. So unfortunately, that safety is is what we need to rebuild in our life because it was broken. It was broken because we couldn't tune as parents to that little child.
mm.
We couldn't be there when they could not communicate what was really going on, and it could be any number of things. It could be the smallest things of mom didn't notice me, when
Yeah,
I was trying to look at mom, and
yeah,
mom just kept looking at, and when that happens time and time and time again,
yeah,
it becomes trauma.
yeah.
So, that connection, if that connection is not there, so mom can be the best parent, in the
Yes,
world, and everything is perfect on the outside. It could be even luxuriously perfect.
yeah,
And so why am I feeling so bad then?
yeah,
Because there was that missing attunement. And that alone can start raveling that child into a place of unsafety.
yes,
I mean,
yeah,
that's just one example.
yeah,
So, and lo and behold, we experience as a child of violence or, sexual abuse, that nobody knows about,
mm,
you know. So how that's why I'm a life coach. That's why I am a parenting coach,
yeah,
because I know the pain of being
mm,
alone in the midst of trauma where nobody knows
yeah,
what it happened.
mm,
But child, as a spiritual being having this human experience,
mm,
that spiritual being knows exactly that something happened,
yeah,
you know, and that trauma, if there is like a big trauma, that changes everything. And that's what happened to me.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's
That's where my
interesting
path.
what just came across my mind then was our youngest daughter. We have three, and our daughter's the eldest. A boy's the middle one, and the girl's the youngest. When the boy was about 14, 13, 14, the youngest was 9, 10. And he was going on his own journey where we were very frightened for what he was doing and what he was getting involved in. So our time and effort was focusing on him most of the time. What we didn't pick up on, because from the outside she looked fine, was that the youngest one, very wise, by the way, really wise. Out of all of them, she's the youngest, but she's the wisest out of all of them and more mature, I would say. The other two would probably shout at me for saying that, but she has got this maturity about her. But what we didn't know at the time was the effect that was having on her.
Mm.
The some of the overspill from what the boy was doing was traumatizing her because she was watching her brother doing it, and then of course we weren't there. So that isolation, that aloneness that you're talking about, she was feeling that and not feeling safe, even though she was taken to school every morning by mum and picked up, and meals were on the table, and we were always around. There was still this isolation there, which we didn't realize at the time because of what was happening.
Yes. And, you know, as a parenting coach, I've just like in my world, you know, this could be different for somebody else, you know, who has maybe I don't know, but in my world, I've noticed that it's hard to break through the wall to the parent to
Mm,
understand that things can be 100% different
yeah,
in the life of a child and the life of a family with a coach,
yes,
with the parenting
and
coach.
absolutely
And we
right.
know this. Yeah.
If you'd have floated that idea across me at that time,
Yeah.
even though we were trying to find the support around with what the boys' issues were, that's what we were focused on. If you then flirted the idea with us of us being coached along the way, because that would have benefited him, yeah, that would have gone. Um,
Right.
yeah.
Yes. Yes. So, you know, the coach asks questions, you know, and through those questions, you start becoming aware of things that you weren't aware before, you know, and
Mm,
then your awareness brings the solutions. The
mm.
parenting coach doesn't tell the parent how to parent.
No.
They ask questions, and together in that space where we are, like we are in this space together now.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to say next. You don't know what you're going to say next,
No.
but this is the field that we create together, and this field is full of intelligence
Mm.
from both of our
Yeah.
spirits
Yeah.
and from a spirit above all
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So when we create that space of support, there is no limit of how much
No.
that can help and how much safety that brings to the parent and groundedness.
Mm.
And then the parent can all of a sudden start understanding and getting solutions and presence into that
Yes.
home. And so it's really magic.
Yeah, I
It's
get
really
what I get.
magic.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's sort of like I used to get angry all the time in that at that time, and my wife was just in fear of what he was doing all the time.
Mm,
So we got this mixture of anger and fear. And so what you're pointing to is if the parents learn to be able to ground and let go of the anger and the fear, which can be done because I've done that myself anyway through the work, and I'm sure you're the same. You've had to let go of a lot of things along the way because we've both been coached in a similar way. So
mm,
the minute parents learn those skills, those tools that you're teaching them, then all of a sudden the energy around everything changes. So for instance, in our what we just explained to you, our youngest, what you're pointing to is our youngest would have felt safer because we did. She would have tuned to our energy.
Yes, but
Mm.
in this case, she was tuning to the anger and she was tuning
Yeah.
to the fear, and underneath all of that is shame and guilt.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
there's, of course, other layers,
Yeah.
that come from our own childhood that we haven't dealt with. So it's all
Yeah.
energy. And then our young ones are so sensitive.
Yes.
They feel the energy, like I was saying, when a big trauma happens in childhood, there everything changes. The spirit gets fractioned,
Yes.
everything changes. So they feel that. They feel when things change in school, they feel when things change at home.
Mm.
And so all of that affects the grounded, being able to be in the body and be in this present moment, to be safe and to be grounded.
Yeah. Yeah.
Their stress levels go up. But nobody can explain this. It's like, well, you know what? Now my stress level went up 30%, and
Yeah.
my spirit is fractured now. Nobody talks in those terms. So we can't explain. We're just feeling. We're
Yes.
just feeling. And the
Yeah.
main thing about my work is to create a space where a parent can come in terms of knowing how they can handle their own emotions
Mm.
and how to feel those,
Mm.
how to let go of the guilt and the shame and the anger,
Mm.
and where is it coming from, you
Mm.
know? And because what we're facing, the problems on the outside, like, okay, let me give you this as an example. I just went to massage, okay? And I feel 100% different than what I did before I went to the massage. I
Yeah.
was actually looping in some kind of a trauma energy before
Mm.
I went into the massage.
Mm.
So the changes that happen inside of us can make 100% difference
Yes.
in the outside of us. So
Yes.
it all is in here. It's so parenting, when I am a parenting coach, I am tuning to you and
Mm.
what is going on inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you could tell me a million things about what's going on with the kids and all of that, but we'll always come back to what's going on in
Exactly.
here,
Yeah. Yeah.
because you are the one who's there. I'm
Mm.
not going to tell you, well, Stephen, you should do
Mm.
this or you should
Mm.
do that, or tell
Mm.
him this, or, punish them like this or whatever. No, it's not like that. It's a deep, energetic,
Wow.
um, emotional work that
Yeah.
happens between
Yeah.
me and the client. Yeah.
And the big thing is when people recognize that and you begin working with them, the need to it's like, how can I explain it? That from I personally, my view is you can't give anybody a free sample so that they can taste it to assure them that something's going to happen. You can give testimonies even from, I mean, I've got testimonies from people of what they've experienced, and it helps a little bit, but it's still because the person involved, and interesting what you said was, as a parent, we get so involved with what's going on out here with the kids that we're using that really as an external distraction from whatever's going on in here,
Yes.
which is quite fascinating in itself. It's like a hamster wheel, isn't it?
It definitely is an unnecessary loop.
Mhm.
I'll just tell this story. When my one of my children, she was coming into her teenage years, and she was having a really hard time of, experiencing life in a divorced family, and I had to move to another country with the children, and the father was left in another country. And so she was having really a hard time, but it was all externalized because she could not communicate it. It was all externalized into anger and disruption and emotional disturbance, and to a point where I took her to the doctor. And this, I'm glad I did, uh this doctor was so wise. He looked at me and said to me that, have you thought that this child has a message to you?
Oh, wow.
And when he said that, it stopped me on my tracks, because till then I had tried to fix her.
Mm. Yes, that's it.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
Yeah, that's what we do. We try to fix them, don't we? Yeah.
Yes. And I came to a dead end with the very wise doctor
Yeah,
kind of saying to me that actually it's you who needs fixing,
yeah,
lady.
yeah. Absolutely right. Yes.
Hmm.
I love that.
So instead of me turning, looking outside, I started turning in,
Yes.
asking, okay, what is the message?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
do I need to hear?
Yeah.
What do I need to understand? What do I need to see? What do I need to accept?
Mm. Yeah.
And where do I need to surrender to?
Yes. Yeah.
Not how am I going to fix
Yeah.
this?
So what you're pointing to is when I'm talking to people that are sort of looking for something, I always get them to or invite them to be curious about everything. And that's what you're pointing to. If we get curious about what's going on and keep asking why and questioning everything, then we end up down this rabbit hole, or we might need to go down two or three rabbit holes because we're not ready today, but sometime next year we might be, or the year after. It doesn't matter. But the so I always encourage everybody to be curious all the time, because at some stage or other, that what you're just pointing to, what the doctor said, boom, and that's the trigger to catapult you forward.
Yes. Yes. And there is a road that we go to
Mm.
that leads to dead end.
Yes, yeah,
And then
absolutely.
there's another one that, gives
Mm.
us different results.
Yeah,
And and with the life coach, you don't need to go to the dead end.
yes, yeah.
You can start safely exploring other options, other ways of thinking, other ways of seeing, hearing,
Mm.
what do our children really, because, like behavior, there is a whole science behind
Yeah,
behavior.
yeah, yeah.
I'm also an ABA, which is an autism behavior analyst,
Okay,
uh,
yeah, yeah,
technician.
yeah.
So I work with the behavior analysts for a couple of years,
Mm.
on the floor with the children.
Mm.
And behavior is such a curious thing. Your
Yes.
child can tell you one thing and it means totally something else.
Mm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when we tune to ourselves
Mm.
and we start gaining, it's like we start gaining authority of our own energetic field,
Yeah.
first of all. That
Yeah.
is not full of, all this other stuff and programming from our parents.
Mm.
And you should think this way, or you should do that.
Mm.
Or so when we start gaining that coherence, which
Mm.
is a mind and a heart connection within myself, I start clearing out my own energetic field. And
Mm.
when I see you acting up a certain way, I'm clear so
Yeah.
I can see. But
Yeah.
if I'm all mangled up with all this other stuff and how I should be, and they told me this, or they taught me
Mm.
this, or they did this to me, and all of that
Yeah.
is in there,
Yeah.
I can't see
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you start acting up, and I'm like, stop.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yes.
Yes.
And every parent's been there and is there quite regularly. So I'll tell you what, a metaphor came in for what you were explaining there to me. I was doing some drum work on somebody at the weekend. I was doing some demonstrations, and I ask the client not to tell me what the problem is. So essentially, I scan them with a drum, and the drum
Mm,
will tell me where there's an issue.
mm.
And I was working on the shoulders because I said, "Have you got a physical?" No, no. So, and I knew there was an issue with the shoulders. And then when I got down round a calf and a knee, that was a physical issue. And I knew it was the shoulders that was causing the problem with the knee, but she was focusing on the knee. And that, as a metaphor, is what you're trying to say, that somebody might have a
Yes.
physical issue in the leg or the bottom of the back, but that it's all in the neck or around the shoulders. And that's a simple way of mapping what you're pointing to. And yeah, that's just explained beautifully that what you're pointing to. It's lovely. So
Yeah. Yeah. And it takes a lot of surrendering, and we can't surrender if we don't feel safe.
no. But the bottom line
Yeah.
is this is kids, our kids we're talking about, or grandchildren, whatever it
Mhm.
is. So, and I often hear it, and you might, oh, I can't afford it, or no, I don't need to look at that, or I'm fine, I can do it on my own. That's the big one I hear. No, I don't need anybody, I can do it on my own, or we can do it on our own. And you know what?
Yeah.
What they're doing and I was just the same. I'm juggling with my children's emotions all the time and what they're going through and their experiences and their trauma because I'm looking at it from that point of view.
Yes. Yes. So, in the light of all of what we have spoken now, I created this program. It's called A Step into the Dream You.
Right.
And really, the program is essentially finding your essence,
Mm,
finding your pure essence, the one you came here with as a child,
mm.
you know,
Oh, yes.
because
Yeah.
it got lost, it
Yeah.
got
Yes.
miscompaculated,
Yeah.
it got
Yeah.
fractioned.
Yeah.
So it's this beautiful journey to kind of reprogram
Yeah.
all of that, deleting things and reprogramming
Yeah.
and coming back to the dream essence.
And
And
sorry, go on.
no, why don't you go on?
Yeah, okay. What I was going to say is the ancient wisdom of shamans. That's exactly what they point to when they do energetic healing, what they call a soul retrieval, is that the soul is fractured. So the trauma is the soul that's fractured away and they can't get
Yes,
it can't get back, so there's a blockage in the way. So the shaman or the shamanic therapist can go and clear that and bring it back and heal in that
yes,
way. So that wisdom has been around for thousands of years,
yeah,
and so they know, and that's exactly what you're pointing to. It's quite fascinating. So yeah,
yes,
love it.
yes. And I mean, I know we can go very deep into
Yeah,
these
yeah,
matters,
yeah.
and
Well,
just as Jesus did,
yeah,
Yeshua walked on earth and he spoke and he taught how there's a frequency in everything
yes.
and how we have the kingdom of God is within us.
Yes,
And
yeah,
he merely just said, it's here. It's
yeah,
already here. Like,
yeah.
don't wait for it.
No.
Like, don't again wait for something
And
outside to happen when it's already here. Just get in contact with that, you
and
know?
every spiritual guru from Greg Braden through to Cryon channeling, they all point to exactly the same thing, which is quite fascinating. And on that note, just to close the conversation, what I wanted to ask you, what's been sort of coming in all through the conversation is have you noticed, because you're around kids most of the time, you're very aware of kids, have you noticed they're coming in at a higher consciousness? Are you noticing the difference between how kids are coming in now and the wisdom they have compared to your experience when you brought kids into the world?
Right. So that's a beautiful question. And I thank you for asking that. So this is the thing. Children are dependent on us, you know.
Mm,
Now let's talk about small children right now.
mm. Yeah.
Okay. The smaller the child is,
Mm.
the more heightened their
Yes.
awareness is.
Yes,
The
absolutely.
more they are in their higher self,
Mm.
unless something has happened
Yeah.
traumatic. Okay. And then they start going through this life and they start getting conditioned and programmed. But when there are adults around them that can tune to themselves, they
Yes.
remember right away. They
Yes.
gravitate to those adults. Like you can go, okay, let's say this. I can go in a group of children and just sit there. I don't need to ask them to come to me. I don't need to even speak to them. I
Mm.
just sit there. And very soon I have all those children around me,
Mm.
looking just like Jesus.
Yes. Yeah.
All the children went to him.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Because he was tuned to himself.
Yes.
He was clear, you
Mm.
know?
Yeah.
And that's an automatic thing. So the answer to your question is yes, when they have adults around them
Ah.
and
Mm.
practices and routines in place that support their coherent nervous system.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
However, if they don't,
Yes.
then no.
No. Okay.
Children, none of us can do this on our own. I couldn't
No.
do this on my own.
No.
Oh my
No.
goodness.
No.
I None of us can do it. So we need support,
Absolutely.
every single one of us.
Yeah.
No matter what the age is, we
Mm.
need support. We are burying, 90-year-olds and 80-year-olds and 70-year-olds who have no coherence.
Mm.
They
Yes.
might have been successful people,
Mm.
but they don't have coherence. They
Yes.
have peaceful moments in their life,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they don't know who they are in that
No.
clarity.
Yes.
There's
Yeah.
like all this stuff, and we
Yeah.
take that to grave.
Yes. Yeah. What
And
I
I
would,
don't want
what
it to
I
be
would
that way.
Yeah, that's what I would call old energy thinking. Very much, like my parents, the way they thought, and I still see people because I'm like 66 and I live in a very rural sort of area, and there's a lot of people of my age that think in this sort of old energy, and they're not curious about
Yeah.
anything, and nothing is going to change because that's the way it's going to be. And so I get what you're saying. It's quite
Mhm.
interesting. Because if we show up in the same energy all the time as we used to, then the same thing's going to be happening. And that's what it's about. So, yeah.
Yes, and of course, like teenagers, they ask questions,
Mm.
and like I noticed in my children, like this particular child I was talking about, she was very tuned to internally,
Mm.
like she knew what was right,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
what was true. Let's say what
Yeah.
was true.
Yeah.
Internally, she knew what was true.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so she was fighting everything else. And
Yes.
she was angry because, like, okay. And then she looks at mom. It's like, you're an adult. You're supposed to guide
Yeah.
me.
Yes.
Who,
Yeah.
what are you doing? You're all over
Yeah.
the place.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, they do, of course, but it's a hard road,
Yes. Yeah.
and that's why I'm a parenting coach, because let's start this from the beginning. Let's
Yeah.
guide let's guide the child the way they are to go from
Yeah.
the beginning, and they will not depart from it, because when they know true coherence from us parents and from themselves, that's it.
Yeah.
They'll, a lot of times I use this metaphor with my clients that um, when you don't need to know all the fraudulent money out there. You just need to know the right one.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Because when you know the right one,
Yes. Yeah.
you already know all the wrong ones.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
when we know the right one,
Yes.
when we bring our children to know the right one,
Mm.
they
Yes.
they
Yeah.
don't go to the all the other mess
No, because
so easily.
you're aligned with everything, and that's what it's about. So yeah,
Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah.
Kirsty, I want to thank you. That's been an amazing conversation. Where do people find you? Did you say you're on Instagram?
Yes, I am in Instagram. My handle is Core. So it's Kristal. A little bit different spelling.
Mm,
Crystal Core. And that comes from my name, Kirsi. And what my thing is to bring clarity. So the Crystal Core.
got it.
Crystal
Yeah, yeah. Love
and
it.
and
Yeah,
also from Facebook by my first and last name, Kirsi Maria Hardy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Maybe you can write it down there. Nobody understood that. It's like,
They'll get it. They can always just replay a little bit and they'll pick up on it. So thank you very much indeed. Really appreciate it. And we'll speak soon. Take care.